We are live! Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 18 of 40K Frontiers. With us today, we have the beautiful and very handsome Mr. Towse with a fresh haircut, if I do say so myself. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, all right. I don't know. I'm confused because we got this new guy. You should introduce him. Apparently, he's cool. Yeah?
He is very, very cool. He has the best haircut on the show. He's a sexy human being. We have Barnyard Jack, wargaming hero, YouTube creator. Jack, introduce yourself. Who are you? Like, where can we find you? Like, where you're on, etc.
Well, firstly, no one's ever called me a hero, and I don't think anyone's actually ever said best hair in the business. That's two firsts in a row, so I'll take both of those. But yeah, I am Barnyard Jack, I suppose you'd say, from Barnyard Wargaming channel on YouTube. And yeah, local Sydney Australian channel. I've been streaming for a while and here for a good time.
Happy days, happy days. So on the show today, we got Barnyard Jack as a guest host to talk about the recent charity, or the charity event that's, as you're listening to, is about to happen this weekend, and understand more about what his channel, Barnyard Wargaming, is all about, as well as we're recapping the recent Southern New Zealand Masters, which Mr. Towse attended, and the recent Queensland Masters that also happened, and then also a little sneak peek preview into BONANZA, and which is a massive Australian event happening in Victoria and this weekend, as well as New South Wales Masters also happening this weekend. So, as well as answering some listener questions and everything else in between. But before we dive deep into everything else, what's been happening, gents? So, starting with yourself, Jack. So, what have you been up to this past week? Any hobby? Anything exciting?
I came prepared.
That makes one of us. No, two of us.
These.
Beautiful. Nice Flaxy Hellbane.
Just because it's an audio format as well,
Slaanesh.
Jack is holding up. Yeah. Sorry,
yeah, I'm holding up Flaxy Hellbane, who's for the people who are only audio. I've been working on a lot of Slaanesh recently, so I'm trying to kind of batch build and paint the in-house Slaanesh army, which means getting about 100 bases or so and trying to put the marbling effect on every single one before gluing every single Slaanesh demon to the said bases and then painting them all. But yeah, it's been a lot of building, and hopefully soon I'll have a playable Slaanesh demon army that isn't painted.
So when you say in-house, is this like for your YouTube channel?
That's it, yeah, for the studio. So we have I would estimate maybe 100,000 points of armies at the moment, random stuff, and I would say a good 50 to 60,000 points of that is painted. So we're trying to collect at least one of everything, and I should be painting Drukhari at the moment, but I have found that Slaanesh is more fun, and I want to round out Slaanesh, and also hopefully once they're done, get the Zench component, I suppose, of all the demons. I'm missing currently an Infernal and Rapturous, Rodigus, and Epidemius, and then the Zench units. And then we'll have everything built and painted. So,
dude,
close.
Why are you choosing to assemble Chaos models over literally anything else that you could be doing in the hobby? Like,
I love Chaos.
I've got 2 boxes of Chaos Knights, and I just hated. Oh, and I put together 6 Furies. I hated doing that. There were so many spikes. My fingers were so sore.
Yeah. Well, Slaanesh is smooth. It's fine. They have like smooth outer claws and things. It's good.
Okay.
Although I did build the 2 chariots, and you know the Hellflayer chariot, like that's really old.
I'm gonna say that like the safe call is that most people have not seen a Hellflayer chariot.
Okay, well it's a chariot and it carries around this like wheel of spikes on the back, and the only way that they could actually make these spikes is each one is printed flat, and then you have to connect all of them in a long line. So it's a line of maybe about 35 individual wheels that you all stick together.
I was really worried it was going to be like a drum that you had to put all the spikes. Like, imagine if you had to put one spike at a time into that rather than it being wheels. But yeah.
Yeah. But that's what I've been doing. How about you guys?
Yourself, Chelsea. I'll go. I was
talk.
thinking. Unlike Jack, I am not as prepared. I've actually been painting gargoyles though, so getting my Tunic gargoyles painted up and got my Parasite of Mortrex also painted up. So it's going well. And also just reorganizing stuff. So just for context, Jack, I moved like a couple of weeks ago, and so obviously like you pack up all your 40k stuff and you're slowly unpacking and organizing it all. So it's been going good though, and playing a couple games. So getting some reps in with some new, wouldn't say new, but Kraken needs instead of my behemoth typical build, and just having some fun there. So getting all nice and ready. What about yourself, Mr. Towse?
I have been doing some work on the Silent King, who I lost, which is why I got up. So I'm sort of showing this to the camera. I don't think it's going to come through very well. But I got like color shift paint for the cloak, which I'm happy with. I converted him out of like a Scorpic Lord rather than the king himself. So he is big, which I think is much better. And like a test scheme for Scorpic melee weapons, because that, and I guess the other thing I've been doing is I have been doing a bit of prep because I got confirmed to have a 2-day booking for running my event in March, so that is cool. So I took some like slightly nicer pictures of this is what the terrain layout, or this is some example tables to put into a draft pack. Posted that up today. Went and asked the group chat guys to go and like and comment and drive the Facebook algorithm so people see it. Rally the troops. But yeah, I think that's most of what I've been doing. Maybe something else that I've forgotten, but yeah. Oh yeah, hang on. I had the Masters this weekend as well, but we're going to talk about that later.
Exactly right. And if you want to see photos of Mr. Towse's terrain or some recaps of the event, you can see it in the Patreon, so or the Discord. So patreon.com/best in tabletop. The smoothest segue right there into some plugs. So you can join us. So smooth.
Dude, smooth as crunchy peanut butter.
Yeah. Patreon.com/best in tabletop for $10 a month. You can join the best Patreon in 40k. I mean, it's actually tied best. I mean, Jackson Barnyard Wargaming Jackson's pretty good, so it's pretty good. And then also all the YouTube members area. So it's a premium area. Get behind the scenes content of the Chase to the Narrative, the bit reps, and everything else in between. Or you can get both for the low price of $15 a month. So happy days indeed. And if none of those interest you, get merch. There's the Best in Tabletop merch store. You can buy some nice t-shirts and stuff like that, and all the goodies in between, and everything you will need. So fantastic. There we go. Nice and done. Over to, I guess, recent events. So this past weekend, nice and quickly, we had the Queensland Masters. So in sunny Queensland, where as you'll hear all the normal blokes lads from, and like 95% of the Team Australia team came from. So was the Queensland Masters. So in Australia and New Zealand, we generally have like a Masters system. So over the course of the year, like depending on the events and stuff like that, you'll get an invite to like the top 8 or so. So similar to how like, the Games Workshop Open sort of worked in their events. So based upon some number of events throughout the year, or like leagues and stuff like that, there'll be an invitation to a certain number of players. And as a result of this Masters event, generally you'll get, so in New Zealand, there is actually a New Zealand Masters, and in Australia, we have an Australia and New Zealand Masters. So the top players from each state, so 5 from each state and then 3 from each territory, will be invited to in March next year to like a who can be the Australian New Zealand champ. So the Queensland Masters happened this past weekend, and the man, the myth, the legend, Hayden Waldark himself took it out. So coming first with his tower beating Liam Hackett, who's playing a bit of Blood Angels. So something a little bit different. On screen for the people watching, we have the results from the weekend. So it was a good amount. So WTC FAQ, WTC map 4 was used throughout the whole weekend. And in third place, we also had Will Milton. So shout out to him. So massive lad, like from the North Side Alliance, absolute Chad, big, like absolutely amazing dude. So coming third with 3-Blade Knights. So yeah, Towse, anything particular that interests you at all?
I'm just sort of having a bit of a look through at the lists and other things. I'm having a bit of a chuckle at Alex T versus David T, because my brother is David. So like, that like caught me out and confused me for a second. But I don't know. We're just looking through. But yeah. There we go. We've got an Imperial Knights list. Let's read.
So this is Will Milton's list, who came third with the 3-Blade Lance. So it's been something he's been piloting for a while now. He's got pretty good with it. Playing with the Hobart GT and Victorian team champs and absolute legend with Northside Alliance. And actually the proud provider of this document. So thank you to him. He rallied the troops to get it all together because unlike most events, they got lists up literally the day of. Like people just rocked up with armies and you had no idea what to play against. So something a bit different for sure. So
Yeah,
definitely surprise. So yeah, and then Hayden Waldock, nice and very simple like championship list, like 2 Sun Sharks, just 4 Devilfish, just some stuff. Nice and easy format read.
yeah, he's got
I swear.
he's got 4 Devilfish.
Yeah,
just
buddy.
Breaches and Pathfinders. What do Pathfinders do for Tau, dude? What?
Marker
A
drones?
lot of Markelites.
Okay, fair enough.
And
I'm confused,
actions
but
as well,
like
and you can deploy, do an action, and then move again.
Yeah,
I mean, fair enough. I'm not gonna argue with the results of Australians. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Mr. Liam Hackett and another mate himself were running. It looks like actually pretty similar to the English Blood Angels list, where it had like 2 assault squad Marines and stuff like that. So I'm playing something a bit different. Obviously, not Liam Hackett not known to play Blood Angels, but testing some new stuff out. So playing some stuff, playing some various things. Obviously, still got the Death Company in the Sangard, a Whirlwind in there, and David Truman was the other person playing Blood Angels, and it looked almost very similar lists. So yeah, some happy days indeed, and congrats to Hayden Waldock for coming first in the event, and I'm sure we'll see him at Ozmasters in March, which will be hosted by Frontier's very own Benny Way in New South Wales. So happy days indeed. Coolio. On to like more local events, and one of our very own proud hosts, Mr. Towse, attended the Southern New Zealand Masters. So Towse, tell us a tale. What was this event all about? What's happening?
Okay, so I think the like South Island Masters, in this case, it wasn't like an invitational thing. It was like an open. So Gary is a local dude. He sort of just like exists in social media, shows up to the odd event, and like also runs like amazing events, like sort of from nowhere. And so he's going to be running the New Zealand Masters next year sometime. I can't quite early next year. And I think he was using this sort of as a practice event. So he gave it like Masters in the title, but it was an open invite sort of, an open to come along event. It was 2K GT missions. So like the standard sort of fare, posted them ahead of time. And I was providing terrain because he asked me to, or maybe I offered or something. But it's a lot easier to just be like, cool, here's like some boxes of stuff, and then that's it in terms of the admin to run something, than it was to like unload all the tables and all that jazz. And so I went along and played myself. I took Chaos Knights. I took a slight variation in that I had 3 Brigands to add some shooting. I don't know if we mentioned, like, if we discussed my results from the Kraken GT when I went up, but I did not quite as I might have hoped there. I went 3-3, so I had some things to work through, which my first 4 rounds of opponents found out when I gave them 2 points total on primary across the 4 games. And that's not like you get 4 points for holding the objective. I gave them 2. So Chaos Knights running at stuff can really deny some primary. And yeah, so I played a couple of Votan lists, but I got. So what happened? Like the going first helps massively, so then you don't get shot. You only get shot for 1 turn, not 2, basically. Had something live luckily in tag fortresses, that sort of jazz. One of the hilarious moments was I charged with my Blood Shield Knight. So like go with 7 attacks, can turn off involves, hits like a train. I charge him into a land fortress with a Magma Rail. And this is in Urani, where everything counts as having a judgment. Just hard rolls a 6 to hit. I'm like, that's a wound. Rolls 6 on his 2d3 damage, adds 6 to it. I'm on 2 wounds. Hits with like a couple 6s with the bolt cannons on there. I failed one of those saves. Well, I guess he fell over. And then there was another guy lined up like directly base to base behind him, who then ran in and punched the knights out of the thing. But yeah, so that was fun. And then I ran into Alec Whitacase on his Emperor's Children. with so standard fare Terminator brick. He had Lucius instead of the mop because like he likes Lucius and it seems like he should be good, but he's not. But he was running it. He had a squad of bikes, but otherwise it was like Havocs and Noise Marines and the Terminator brick. And Chaos Knights don't like shooting the Terminator brick, or punching the Terminator brick, or getting punched by it. And I went second
in general.
Yeah, and I went second on Recover the Relics, so I was on 1 CP and didn't get any of the first 2 turns. That fun. He gets the Terminator brick in the middle, which means fortunately for me, he was off like a bit to a flank, so I could slightly play around ranges. But I didn't do enough, and then I was getting punched. He won that one, and so he took the event from that because he and John on like Levy Gaunt with Turvagon, yada yada, that sort of list, because they drew. Then the 2 of them jumped ahead of me into first and second. I took third. Definitely not upset about it. Had a good run and then had a tough match at the end. So yeah.
How many people were there? Did you say?
There weren't that many people. There were like 18 or so. But it was a 5-round event. There were less people, so it could have been we could have had a no one with all wins, but not how it worked out. And yes, but the top end were pretty serious. Like, so there was Alex Cameron there who came third at the Kraken GT. And he didn't podium here, so because he had a bad time against me because elves on Tide of Conviction against 9 chain cannons and 9d6 indirect shots just don't have a good time. There were 2 knights on his home objective at the start of his turn 2. Didn't go well. And
this is why I just don't like knights.
That's fair. And then he also didn't kill enough of the gaunts against John and lost that one. So, but I think he was up there in the placings. We had some a couple of like Votan and full strength lists. Mostly full strength. Some people were like hadn't assembled their tech marine dude. He was good man, but still placed all right. And
I did
shout
see
out
a few
to
of those land fortresses in those photos there.
Yeah. Shout out to Dave Roth, who ran. He also was like finding his way up the tables, and he was running Be'lakor, a Keeper of Secrets, a Great Unclean One, a Bloodthirster, and Big Bird. So like the
How's
5.
that impossible?
What do you mean?
You
How's it
can't even do
possible?
that, can you?
How can you not do it?
Because to have that many HQs, you got to have patrols. And
it was Patrol Vanguard. No, so Patrol Battalion. He had 4 units of blues
of
or horrors of some kind. Huh?
The cheapest thing possible.
No, it was horrors of some kind.
The cheapest battalion and patrol you can get is 480 points. And the cheapest Lord of Change or like Big Bird or whatever you can get is like 300. So to have 5 in a list, I think is impossible. But
dude, I don't know. No one questioned it, all right?
New Zealand math isn't always correct, okay, Jack? It's like 2,030 points. It's close enough. Rounding it up. It's fine.
Maybe he had double auxiliary support, or like auxiliary detachment or something. Oh, Be'lakor could have been in his Supreme Command.
Yeah.
And he could have had double patrol or something.
Double patrol. I think that's probably what he did, yeah. You're right.
I don't know. Anyway, he had a list. It had look, what we need to focus on is not the legality of the list, but the fact that he had the 5 big demons, all right? It was cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that was the main shout out. Sorry if I'm forgetting someone. I mean, Alex Cameron's still doing all right with his Hail of Doom. Anyway, list. Games.
Fantastic.
Cool.
Yeah, so good event overall. Like, were you happy with how you think things went? Obviously came third overall. Made some learning lessons from Kraken GT, and any room for improvement or changes you think you would like to make moving forward now, or you're pretty settled?
I don't think so. I don't think I would have changed the list. It's like because I was chatting to like the 3 of us that ended up on the podium and another guy on Yunari, Jacob. we were going out for lunch for both the days, and like we were chatting at the time saying, yeah, we don't think like it's really difficult to make a singles list that's stronger to everything. Like there's still going to be some matches where I really hope I go first, or that such and such happens, right? Like
especially with knights. Knights, you really got to tech into something to be able to be good against it.
Yeah, like so I against Votan, right? It's like I think going first there is a big help because that means I get shot for 1 turn, not 2, before I start taking fortresses, right? Like it's just that sort of thing. That's if you're on Chaos Knights, it's not like Imperialis where you can advance and charge the Warglaves. But yeah, like that, or same with the Emperor's Children, where like I would like a turn to shoot the Terminator brick without its buffs before it gets to move 11 inches into the middle. You know, and so I went first in 2 of the 3 matchups where I wanted to go first. So what do you do? Like you need to be some level of lucky to win a lot of big events. Not that this is big, but like same sort of deal.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, with any event win, you definitely need some luck to go your way. So, look, winning 2 of about 3 times you had to go first, not bad. Good start, but not lucky enough. Next time, though.
Yeah, and I was happy with how it went. Other than it's a bit, it was a bit rough that the draw and then both of them went through to like leapfrog me. But it's fine. I'm friends with both guys. I'm not. It is fine. I don't know if I've played actually that many singles events, so I hope I get qualified to the actual Masters event for New Zealand. Especially given as I think I'm going to be providing the terrain for it too. So it would really suck if I need to like come along and be like, hey guys, here's some buildings. I'm not allowed to play though. Bye.
Maybe you can blackmail it, you know? So it's like, hey, this terrain, it comes with a caveat. I mean,
You got to buy your way in.
Yeah.
It's the backup plan.
With kilos of MDF symbols.
So yeah, that is the rundown of that. Had we, because also Sam, have we covered the Kraken event on the show or not?
Yeah, I think we talked about it briefly. You think you talked about it briefly last time, so
cool, good enough.
It's all good. Yeah.
Yeah. Sweet.
Anyways, conscious of time, obviously. So happening this weekend, because we got to talk to our beloved Barnyard Jack guest a lot. So happening this weekend, we have the New South Wales Masters. So similar to Queensland Masters, happening this weekend. So 16-player invitational. Have a wide range of guests and players happening. So some of the best, not some of the best, the best in the state invited to play. So got a variety of people. Obviously, Jack, Barnyard, you're being a home state, like any like notable people that you like recommend or think people should look out for? I know 2 of them are people on the channel from time to time.
Mr. Greek and Glezos, and also Jack, Evil Jack, we call him on my channel, are both going. Yeah, I know those 2 well.
Yes.
Evil Jack is the, I would say, resident Drakari player. He plays a lot of Drakari. He knows his way around Eldar quite well as well. And he's been associated with my channel for a long time. He's one of the first people that were on 3 years ago, and I've played him many times. I know what he can do with a mean Drakari list, and it's awful. I hate it. Drashar needs a points increase now, please. It's the worst. I just I've beaten him like twice. The first time we ever played, and then he went on like a 25 win streak in a row. Drashar, yeah, no thank you. And I've had 2 games on stream with Mr. Inglezos. The first time he said he was going to play like a very chill game, and then he proceeded to bring his sweaty AdMech list, and I tried to deep strike 800 points, and he screened me off the whole table, and so that was a good stream. And then the second time I got him back, and it was a good game my way. So yeah, I know both of them, and I think Alex had like a 100% win rate and also points in a tournament the other day. Like he came first and didn't drop a point.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Potentially, there was like a recent RTT, so leading up to Masters, sounds about right. He's a very good player, and like he's number 2 globally in AdMech. And if you want to hear more from him or about the New South Wales Masters event, there was a Down Under 40K podcast released literally just today. For anyone listening, we'll have a link to it down below, which very own Benny Way and Alex Iglesias goes through the event and sort of gives some highlight and tips about the year that's been and what the New South Wales Masters is all about. So watch this space. So big 5-round event. Some big hitters there, and it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top.
As for the others, I think you're going to have to list some names, and I'll see if I know them.
Yeah, so definitely another one, Josh McMillan. So he was one of the assistant coaches for Team Australia. George Johnston, he's a Chaos Demon specialist, one of the New South Wales guys. Michael Duke, he's won a couple of GTs around locally. Josh Brody, obviously always perennial Demons and Chaos player, and just does a lot of work. And then
he's an everything player. I know Brody.
He's an everything player for sure. And then Richard Hill, also known as Feud, like absolute legend, just crushes people with Towse previously, and he's a Death Guard unique demon engine list, and now he's on Votan. It's something he's been preparing for a long time. So it should be exciting. And also Hayden Ford, we'd be wrong if we didn't mention him.
Absolutely. He's just a legend in general.
Yeah. They're all legends. They're all amazing. So happy days indeed. And last but not least, before we get into the big segment, the thing you've all been waiting for, the chat with Jack, we have Menza. So this weekend, Menza, it's like a prestigious Australian event. It's been happening for years and years and years. Obviously, COVID stopped a lot of things, but it's happening this weekend. And I think there is a big variety of people. I think it's like in the 50s or so. Apologies for messing this up if I've got it wrong. But there's a large variety of people. It's a big event. It's got a bit of a narrative theme to it in a sense of like there's some background and stuff to it. But for the most part, it's like a singles event, 5 or 6 rounds, and people go hard. So it's good. Some of the best in Australia turning up for it. So Adam Camilleri, you got Brian Lakeland from Queensland attending. Hugh Titchener from New Victoria is a good Blood Angels player. Matt Morosoli, obviously the Ottawa player, Ottawa coach, Stewie Trainer, and there is also Dean Sembeck of Blog for the Blood God. Very, very good player, and there'll be heaps more as well. So watch out for those. Chris Wright's not attending. I know he's not in the Masters or as far as I can see, but he is also a very good player. So for New South Wales Masters, it'll be anyone's for the taking if Chris Wright's not there. So
I know. I was going to say, technically, he's like the best player in the world, right? I mean,
definitely. Yeah.
I'm not keeping scores with all of this, but he was on the team, Team Australia, that won the World Championships, and he's also considered the best player in Australia. So if he's the best player in Australia and the best player in the world, then probably the best player in the world, right?
Absolutely. Undoubted.
I thought it's funny because like you hear a bunch of different people of within the Australian team getting called that. Like there's the whole argument of Liam because he won the singles as well. I think Liam says that Eric is the best, and so yeah, they're all just like hot potatoing best player in the world around the Team Australia.
Is that Lathuris?
That's the one.
Is there another Eric that I should know?
Well, I'm catching up with all the names.
That's fair.
But I did go to an event recently myself, and I don't get around to too many events. I'm more the funny stream camera guy, but I did go to one with Mr. Evil Jack, and on my team, a team event, and we versed Eric Lathuris' team, and I was on the table opposite Jack and Eric, who ended up getting a game. And I just said to Eric, "Can you just be gentle with him, please?" And he turned around to me and just went, "No, I'm going to poo on him." And I was like, "Okay." And he did. And it was a great time. So, yeah.
He's an absolute savage. He destroyed me at VTC, but he's a very good lad and very, very good at 40K. But yeah, that's all for this weekend, and we'll surely recap it on the next episode of how Menza and New South Wales Masters went on, because obviously that's Benny Way's home state, and he'll be back on very, very soon to talk about it. So, but the main event of the show, the thing we've been all waiting for, Barnyard Jack, so you have a charity stream this weekend going for a number of hours. Please enlighten us about, obviously, the charity stream itself and sort of, I guess, a bit about the content you do. So you obviously highlight about, you do some battle reports and stuff like that, but what else do you do?
Okay, well, so the stream this weekend, it's a charity stream for a charity called Thankmas. Thankmas has been around for a few years now. It started on YouTube by a YouTuber called Jacksepticeye. I think everyone's probably heard of him, 30 million subs. So yeah, it was started by him. in association with the WCK, the World Central Kitchen. And it basically gives people who aren't as fortunate at Christmas time a better Christmas. So providing things like meals and a few presents and things for families who have young ones that are homeless or don't get a great Christmas. It's a charity for that to kind of give back. I mean, a lot of us have quite a great Christmas, especially 40K players. We're lucky enough to have tables and miniatures and friends to play with, and people just might not have that. So we're going to be doing a 10-hour live stream, which is going to be 3 games back to back to back. I'll be playing all 3 games with only a 15-minute break in between every game, with a different layout, different terrain, different table, and different opponents. And I'll be playing different armies into different armies each time. It's going to be probably a lot of fun because anyone who is going to donate $10 or more during the stream is going to get a free Slaanesh wheel spin. That's something that just features on our channel. We have a bit of a running gag that whenever one of those bots, I'm sure people can understand which bots I'm talking about, pop into your chat. We call that Slaanesh. Whenever Slaanesh comes by, you just have to wave and be polite, and then they move on their way. But we spin a Slaanesh wheel, and this Slaanesh wheel has a bunch of random things on it. It could be you gain a CP, lose a CP. You have to roll with your offhand. You have to be silent for a minute. You got to dance for a minute. It could be a wide range of things, and we're going to be adding a whole bunch more things to this Slaanesh wheel. And then anyone who donates $10 or more is going to be getting a free wheel spin, and so it's probably going to be absolute chaos. By the time I'm done with game 3, along with all of the different armies and people and keeping up with chat and the wheel, my brain's probably going to leak out the side of my ear. But hopefully it'll be good.
That sounds great. Like, I know the Kraken guys in New Zealand ran a charity event, and they had something where like you could donate money. It was like a swear jar, but you could pay for like a reroll, or I think you could pay to force your opponent to reroll something as well. Like if they get something successful, or there are a few different things like that where it's just like, no, I don't like that. Money, boom, fixed problem, or like
exactly,
various different shenanigans. I
didn't want to leave it up to chat. I wasn't crazy enough to leave it up to chat to influence the game in a way that they could choose. So I've made it fully random. I mean, it could be anything from I myself donate $5 to I don't know. You have an orbital bombardment dropped on your head. So
you need the you should try. Oh no, I'm just thinking if there was something like Twitch plays, but like Twitch plays 40K, or they need to try and like I don't know how you'd coordinate that.
Add a Twitch bot to it. For sure. Well, I mean, if you guys have any suggestions, let me know. I'll add them to the wheel. It's going to be coming out this Saturday, which is the 10th of December. We're starting at 9 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. I haven't worked out what time that is for everyone else in the world, so I'm sorry.
It's right. GMT
I'll
plus
get
11
on it.
plus Australia, so that's so 10 p.m. London time, which is 10 p.m. for Friday. There you go. So so you can work it out.
And it should be in the afternoon for most of America, and then late in the evening for most of Europe, wherever you are. But this is probably going to be the biggest stream that we've ever done. We do stream twice a week on a Tuesday and a Saturday, and we've been doing so for about a year now. So I think I've probably played about 100 stream games, I think, at the moment. The 2 years before we were streaming, we were actually, we used to make YouTube videos in terms of edited battle reports. It was definitely a lot more work, I will say that. And I think that a lot of people prefer those types of videos, a lot shorter, but it involved basically editing about 6 hours worth of content down into like 20 to 30 minutes every week. And it was very time consuming. So we moved over to streaming, but that's where Evil Jack, he used to help me out a lot there. We 3 years ago when we first started. I started with just the hand cam. I was holding it over the table. It was really shaky. And now we've got a full studio. So it's going well.
Hell yeah, dude.
Fantastic.
And so just quickly, I did the conversion. So 9 a.m. Australian Eastern is 4 p.m. Central Time in the US, I believe. So that's at least easier for Americans to convert, hopefully.
On a Friday.
On a Friday afternoon.
True. Yeah. 4 p.m. on the Friday, because like the whole thing in the future. Because thanks for catching that.
You're even more in the future than we are.
Yeah, well, that's why I laugh every time like the Art of War Down Under like intro or outro thing plays, and it's like signing out from tomorrow. I'm like, you guys are in the past. Get with it. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Too good. So, I guess a bit of context as well. So, how long? So, you said you've been doing this channel for like 3 or so years now. How long have you been playing 40k for, Jack, or wargaming in general? And like, how did you get into the hobby itself?
That's a great question. So, I myself, I've been playing for, I've been playing for 13 years, I think. I started with Eldar. Was my, I guess, I mean, I like to say
we won't
that
hold
everyone...
it against you.
This is why I don't like knights, okay?
Look, I am on knights because I am in New Zealand, whereas, as I'm sure you can relate being in Australia, it is expensive as hell. So knights and custodes, the other army I have, are cheap. That is why I have those two armies.
Sure, yeah. The Australia and New Zealand prices are way too high. The rest of the world, you guys don't know how lucky you have it. But yes, I started playing 13 years ago on Eldar. I remember walking into a store when I was a lot younger, and I wanted to pick up an Eldar jet bike. Back then, they used to sell individual miniatures in blister packs, so you could buy a packet of one jet bike,
like the little pewter thing with the clear window. Yes, you've unlocked a core memory.
Yep. And my friend always likes to bully me about it, because technically my first model ever was Sergeant Tellian, the Ultramarine Scout character that I covered in probably about 50 layers of paint. I lost his arm and his base, and then I threw him somewhere, and he was never found again. And I'm glad for that, because who would like Marines, let alone Ultramarines? And I moved swiftly over to Eldar. And since then, I've managed to collect every unit in Eldar that exists. The one unit I'm missing, I mean, technically I don't have Wasp Assault Walkers or like a Firestorm, but the one unit that I'm missing is a Phantom Titan, which you can't really play with anyway. So, there you go.
I have
Towse
Sergeant
just pulled out
Tellian.
Sergeant Tellian. Nice.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, who would play Sergeant Tellian? Ew. Yeah. But yeah, so I have one of everything for Eldar, and since I started streaming, well, actually, let's go back a bit further. I played for about 8 years with just one of my friends, and I never actually bothered to read the rulebook. I just couldn't be bothered to, so I learnt through, I guess, osmosis, like basically trial and error. Like I would just learn the rules.
There's a rule book in 40k. I thought that's just how you learn the rules.
You don't have to read it to play the game. You just learn through everyone else, right?
Yeah.
You make it to like when you lose, that's fine. They've cheated. It's fine.
You make it to LVO Shadowrun thinking your battle wagons still have like a 10 transport capacity if they've got an ard case, because you haven't actually paid attention to things changing between codexes. Shout out to Lucas from the Next Generation.
Next thing is good to me, Jack, you get to read the players pack for a tournament. No, that can't be happening, right? No.
I don't need to read the players pack if someone else reads it and then tells me about the players pack.
Exactly.
I don't need to read anything. The secret about me is I don't know how to read, guys. I've made it
peak
this far.
40k.
Okay, let's not give it up.
Yeah, peak 40k is at any given at the start of any given round of a tournament, everyone's like, "Oh, what mission are we playing?" And the TO is like, "Oh, we don't know either." And everyone like goes through the pack, and someone tells you the mission first, and they're like, "Oh, okay, cool, we'll go and do this." And then you wander around, and there's like one person that's got the wrong mission. Shout out to Waddler. Or there's someone that's playing the Strike Force version rather than the actual the wrong incursion, not Strike Force. Yeah.
I'm the guy there who just guesses the mission, and then everyone asks me, and I tell them the wrong mission, and then we all start playing the wrong mission. And
Nice.
then what happens? Who knows?
Strong. Yeah.
But yeah, I had this one friend, and because naturally we're a bit younger, he I suppose took advantage of me just a little bit in the rules department. And he won a lot of games. I'd say I beat him twice out of maybe 100 games or so over the course of about 8 years. But it didn't matter. I was having a fun time. I think the first time I ever beat him, for those who know, there used to be a scatter system in the game, and you also used to join your characters into your units. So he had a very expensive character join a very expensive unit of Terminators, which scattered onto a pole and then rolled a 1 and they all died. So it was technically like a 1,500 point game against 2,000. Yep, Towse is holding up some scatter dice right now. So I won that game easily. Didn't even need 500 additional points on top. But yeah, after that,
Easy peasy.
kind of branched out and met some more people. I used to go into a Games Workshop store a lot, which is the main reason I got into it was we walked past that store, and then just started playing based on what they had in the store. Honestly, it used to be a child's daycare service. I swear, you used to be able to go in, leave your child there, and then the paints were free on the table. So you could just sit there and use the in-house paints all day. And I used to go in and do that. And then we kind of branched out as I got older, met a lot more people to play with. And from there, I just thought, well, I may as well start making YouTube videos. I got nothing to lose. And yeah, once people started watching, I just couldn't stop. And it's been great. It's been one hell of a ride. A lot of people comment now, and you get to know people from all around the world. There was a guy on stream the other day, shout out to Van from Kazakhstan, who's watching us, which is awesome. We've got Swedish guys and German guys, and yeah, so it's really, really awesome. It's rewarding as heck.
That's so cool. I also want to quickly go back to when you said the paints are free at the table.
They
At
were.
first I heard pants. No, I heard pants when you first said it. It's
The
like,
pants
wait,
were
gene
free as
stealers weren't
well.
even. Yeah, it's like everyone's a gene stealer. We've acquired pants. We've got them.
Yeah.
But yeah.
There actually was some great stories of people that would walk in. Like I remember sitting down and I was painting at the painting table with a friend, and the friend got up and walked to the back of the store to look at something, and you could open the rule books and the codexes off the shelf and just look at whatever you wanted to. Nothing was wrapped or sealed. You could look at anything.
You could open the cardboard boxes too, right? They didn't have shrink wrap over a lot of them.
Yeah,
You could just
you could look at anything. Yeah. And there was this group of young girls that walked into the store and just picked up a paint pot, opened it, and just started painting his miniature, just sitting on the table. And I didn't say anything. I was just sitting there gobsmacked, who are these people? And I didn't want to, I was young. I didn't want to interrupt them. So I just sat there looking at them paint my friend's miniature.
Were they doing a good job? Were they doing better than he was?
Red? I was like, well, it wasn't me. I don't know what to tell you. But
you didn't lie. No. It wasn't you.
Yeah. Good times with that. But
it's
yeah,
funny. It's funny how common of an intro story to that is. It was the last time we recorded, right? So then we had Steve Joel on. And so Steve and I, turns out we both got into 40K at the same store in his hometown. I was traveling, and yeah, we both left a movie in the same movie theater because it was upstairs, and there's an escalator going down, and then you go, ooh, there's a big shiny thing that says Games Workshop over there, and you go in and it's there's these pretty colors and models and shiny lights and just all the things, and you get this big dopamine hit. You walk in, and then you're poor for the rest of your life. It's great.
Yeah, well, back in the day, it was way cheaper. That Eldar jet bike that I picked up, which is now terrain, by the way, I glued him to some terrain pieces.
Solid.
That was $18 for one jet bike back in the day in a blister pack. Now they're $80 for 3 or something, which is insane.
Yep. And it's the same casting, right? Because Eldar haven't been updated.
Yeah, no, the models are still older than I am. I will say that. That is no lie. They are literally older than I am. But I remember my mum was like, "Oh, you're never going to play this ever again. This is cheap plastic. You're not going to use it. You'll use it for a week and then you'll drop it. And here we are now. Look at me, Mum. I'm on the internet.
Yeah, you sure showed her.
Yeah, here we are. So, you never know what will happen. Games Workshop is
Yeah,
I will say,
maybe.
questionable in their ways and their rules writing and the things that they do a lot of the time. I think a lot of people aren't particularly happy with them, but they have made a killer game that I will love, I think, for all eternity, to be honest. Even if I stop playing it, I'm still going to be interested in it and know a few things about it. And the friendships that it brings and the things that it gives you, like skill-wise, logicality, creativity, patience, even social skills. It's just such a good game.
Yeah, and the things that it should teach you, like it should teach you social skills and like some basic maths and probability. Unfortunately, not everyone picks up on that, but like people really should.
It taught me how to read, so here we are.
Yeah, not everyone does that either, right? Like players packs, rule books, like their own secondary 5 times. I checked it 5
It
times,
would help
bro.
if Games Workshop could write rules that weren't so hard to read. You know?
I don't know what you're talking. Like, I definitely didn't play my the brigands that I added in my list. I definitely didn't play them wrong and get corrected by a guy on Discord earlier today. That didn't happen.
Oh, dude, the amount of time live on stream, 2 games a week, I play upwards of 10 armies. And I have to know the rules back to back for all of those without a book in front of me, knowing all the strats and even the names of the strats. It's way too hard to learn all of that. And there's hundreds of comments that just go, Jack, you've got this wrong. How could you? That you weren't fighting there.
I can't believe you've done this. How could you?
Plus 1 to wound. You idiot. How did
you imbecile.
That?
I can't believe you didn't know every single statistic.
Yeah, I've been playing Chaos Knights for like 10 years, and I easily know all these rules, as if you don't know them.
Yeah, like how could you not? Or like, what was the other? Like, it was we were doing some top table gaming, and I had to point out that Alec, them Terminators don't actually have the icon keyword, because I remember, and you hear all the time the other classic of people is getting advanced and charged into by creations of Bile Possess. It's like, nah, bro, they don't have the core keyword. That's stratagem. It requires core. Like I managed to pick up those like 2 nuggets of chaos things for other people. But no, I couldn't get my own rules right.
Absolute doozy the other day. Listen to this one, right? So swooping hawks, right?
Yep.
They teleport after they move, okay?
They do.
And it says for battle focus, it says you can move your D6 inches after, but you can't
charge if you battle focus.
So you can't do it if you're doing an action. It says, or something like that. It specifies, or something like that, or in normal moves, or in something like that. And I moved my hawks after shooting with them while doing an action, because I could shoot and do an action. And someone commented saying, no, you can't shoot and do an action and then use them to move, because it counts as a normal move, or something like that. And I was like, no. It says on their sheet, instead of making a normal move, you can make a battle focus move. So technically, that's legal, and you can move after doing an action with your swooping hawks. Then someone commented after the game. There's another rule
saying if you get picked up and put down again, an action fails.
Yeah,
right?
From the rule book, in the back of the rule book for reposition units, you can't do an action, or actions fail if you're repositioned. So it was like the biggest roller coaster. It was
it's like yes, no, yes.
I said yes. They said, okay, you're right. And then they said no again. And I went, okay, you're right. And it was just like, oh my gosh. It was absolutely the worst.
Yeah.
Too good.
By the way, like everyone that's like just listening to the podcast, Sam has just been losing it over in like the corner. He's just like almost falling out of chair on the webcam as we're going on about all this stuff.
Yeah.
Just bringing back so many core memories. As a fellow, obviously, back trailer, Games Workshop alumni, just the smell of plastic glue as you walk in, the sound of Death Magnetic Metallica playing the whole time, or some old school metal music. It's just good old times. And just the failure to read by many people. I mean, look, the old Simpsons quote, I was elected to lead, not to read. Just ring true. Right?
I picked 3. I was elected to lead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Too
Yeah,
good.
exactly.
Too good. So just to go back on topic of those, Jack. Obviously, you talked about of people on stream when they comment and they say rules interactions happen, and it's also a common thing, like with your famous streamers like War Games Live and stuff, where the issues occur. Like issues occur during stream games and stuff like that. How do you sort of address them? Do you try, if you can, like go back to the game state and like address it as such, or do you sometimes ignore it and say, look, obviously Warhammer 40k, you're going to make mistakes. There's going to be no perfect game of 40k. Like, how do you sort of address those sort of things?
Okay, so we have on the Barnyard streams 2 types of streams. We do a Tranquil Tuesday stream with it's usually with my in-house painter Neil, who
is that like ASMR? Like you roll dice individually to get like the nice pitter patter sounds, and you have the.
Okay, wait until you hear this explanation.
Okay.
It's supposed to be with my in-house painter Neil, and it's supposed to be like a very chill game. You can take whatever you want back. You know, we're playing really not great armies, testing some stuff, trying things, and the chat helps us out with rules. And whatever you want to do, you can take it back. A whole movement phase, a whole shooting phase, take it all back. It's fine. Whatever you want to practice on, that's fine. What it turns into is it descends slowly into chaos and absolute madness as we have no idea what's going anywhere. It's not tranquil in any shape or form. Neil does like 4 laps around the table. I'm changing cameras everywhere, and it's just chaos. But recently, he's actually been out. He's been away, so he was in and out of hospital. So speedy recovery, Neil.
Oh no.
But we're having a few guests on at the moment, which has made a bit of a fun interaction for who can be the best Neil replacement. But those Tranquil streams, rules interactions, doesn't really matter. Like if you want to take something back, it's fine. You do whatever you want, and you're live on camera anyway. So if you cheat, you know, everyone's going to catch you out on it. Chat's going to be there. They're going to be like, you can't do that. We can see you. You can see you clearly moving your Terminators 20 inches.
Oh no.
You know, as if you're trying to. That's ridiculous, Jack. 20 inches. I mean, 7's fine, but 20, no. So yeah, they catch you out anyway. And the other thing is, if you do take something back, it never works anyway, right? Everyone knows if you take something back, right, you can't change
the classic, like, I've forgotten to shoot. The number of times where it's like, oh, I forgot to shoot this guy, or I've still got this gun to shoot. And you get like, so you got 4 shots, one of them hits and it doesn't wound, right? Like,
it nothing ever happens. It's basically just a comedic waste of time. Even if you got 30 shots you've forgotten to shoot, you're going to roll 31.
It's not happening.
It's not going to do anything. Nothing's going to happen from that, and you just can't change the past. But on our Saturday streams, they're our spicy Saturdays, and we play
Is it Tranquil Tuesday, Spicy Saturday? Is that the?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to get with the alliteration. It's like a good Marvel or DC comic. Alliteration everywhere. But yeah, they're our like competitively inclined games. And we try and demonstrate just how well we know our codexes, which doesn't always go to plan. People would basically just point out how much better they know their book over us.
Surely what you're demonstrating, Jack, is like, how well do you know your codex? Not very. And then continue. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I mean, when you play so many armies, you're never going to know all the codexes back to front.
I mean, Bandwagon Sam over here can relate.
As a meta chaser, yes.
So on those ones, we always try and play by intent. So if you're going to say, oh, I'm moving here so you won't be able to shoot me, we just don't try and shoot that thing, or something like that. You know, it's not a top tables at a competitive tournament. So everyone who comes on stream, they know what they're signing up for. They have a painted army. They're good at presenting, and they're there for demonstrating how to play, how to know your rules, hopefully, and how to demonstrate, you know, some tactics on the board. And whether it goes wrong, it doesn't really matter. And whether you take things back, it doesn't really matter, as long as everyone's having a good time. And yeah, typically we don't really get frustrated or angry or anything like that. I mean, Neil has had quite a few moments where he's Yeah, he's gotten pretty unlucky. Like a 6-inch 3d6 charge, something like that, re-rolling, fails twice, loses the game. It's
Powerful.
just
Good.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely happened. But it's all in the spirit and the fun of the game. So
Has Neil considered just being better at 40k, or is that not a possibility?
well, he tries, but Neil's he's an older gentleman. He's been around for, I think he's been in the 40k scene for like 25 years or something. And he's a painter. He's a painter by trade. He doesn't know all the rules of the game. We bring him in for some tranquil games. He's just hilarious to watch. And so, yeah, chaos ensues.
When you say he's a painter, is he like a commission model painter, or like he paints houses?
He
or something
doesn't
like
do
that,
commissions, but I would I mean, me just talking him up, I would say he's in the top like 1% of painters in Australia in terms of quality. He is ridiculously good.
Does he paint as his day job though, or is it just?
No, he doesn't paint as his day job. He just paints by hobby, and he paints exclusively just the minis for our armies in house. But he's done a lot. Like he's painted every single unit in the GSC book. Like multiple. He has like 80 of each unit of infantry, all individually converted to Mad Max theme, and all painted up. He's done that. He's done Dark Sisters. He's done a lot of Marines, like 8,000 points. All of this in like the last 2 to 3 years. So he paints fast, and he paints
just
really
like
well.
Frustrating, when someone can paint way better than you could ever hope to, and approximately like 10% of the time. It's just you're torn between admiration and just like rage. That reminds me though of
he's on Instagram, and his name is Wrong Way Go Back, all one word. And he's got like I think 6,000 followers or something now on Instagram. One of his reels the other day for his Dark Sisters hit 100,000 views, so he's well known ish. And he paints like a
bring
god.
it up, find a link, because I am going to shout out that at the South Island event I was at, there was he got my vote for best painted because it was a GSC infantry horde, or like not complete horde, but there were like 60 or more infantry dudes, and they were all edge highlighted. It's just like, on principle, that gets my vote. Here we go. Sam's got it on screen.
Yeah, he's been working on a battle recently. So
that is tidy.
He's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
If you scroll quite a bit further, you'll find his converted. Those are the Chaos Knights the Knights he's been doing for our channel as well. But he's mostly well known, I think, for his GSC conversions.
Were those Knights involved in the Squidmar like mini trading back and forth thing?
I wish.
Okay. It looks similar in paint scheme at first glance.
Yeah.
Yep.
His Mad Max GSC stuff is really well known all over the internet. He has a Goliath truck or rock grinder. There you go.
Oh, with the speak. Yeah.
That's the reel. That has a huge amount of speakers on it. For those who aren't watching live, like with the video, it has 3 gigantic speakers on it that are all like basically handmade out of plasticard. And
is one of them actually a Bluetooth speaker? Can it actually play music?
No. No. I wish.
That's the next level.
Yeah. So shout out to Neil. He's
nice.
my guy.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm going to do the thing and say with confidence that is entirely unfounded that we'll have the links to that in the description, which may have made work for Sam, but that is decidedly not a me problem, and I hope it actually happens for people coming back to this.
Nice.
Sam unmuted, wanting to say something upset at me, and then remembered we're trying not to swear on the show, I imagine is what just happened.
No, it's fine. It's more than fine to do. It's a beautiful army. Nails a very talented player, done amazing work. As someone who aspires to try and do a Dark Sisters theme, like that's chef kiss. That's beautiful and well done.
Yeah.
So maybe any lack of Warhammer skills is definitely made up in painting skills. So I'll forgive him for that. So that is amazing work.
I keep telling him he should use that new Vindicare assassin model that's standing on the big sister face. He should use that as Judith Urta. As her pulpit. You know what I mean?
Oh, use the sister, yeah. Or have you
Yeah.
seen someone modeled like, because you know how it's like the massive sister, right? Someone modeled like the full statue.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
and so you could get an STL and 3D printed or something like that. I
Wow.
know I saw that online somewhere, and that was cool.
Nice.
I don't have anything more helpful. I don't know if I could find it, but like I saw it. So now maybe
Add
someone
more
will
links to
listen
the
to this and go
description.
Google.
Add them in now, Sam. Thank you. We'll be adding everything in.
Oh, yeah.
Just go find it, Sam. Just add it to the description. Too
Yeah.
Yeah,
While
yeah.
I'm here, I'd like to shout out my mum. I'll put her face. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone make sure you like, comment. That's right. That's the streamer way to interact. No, that's not what happens if you stream. Anyway, ignore me. I don't know what I'm doing.
Nice. You see, it
Tell us
just
something
descends
new,
to
Cass.
chaos.
Tell us
It
something
always
new.
descends
I don't
into
know what
chaos.
I'm doing. Too good, too good. So what's so obviously you create some battle reports and stuff. You have your streams and stuff like that. And it was funny you mentioned before how you used to previously do battle reports and then edit them, and you take many hours. I think I've heard play in tabletop when they did the play like 40K in 40 minutes. It was easy, like 24, if not 40 hours worth of editing for that.
Yeah, it took me about 30 hours a week of editing.
Yeah, it's so much work. So I guess obviously it's amazing being a streamer, like doing all like in-house painting. You have all these amazing arms and stuff like that. What are some of the downsides or like some of the behind-the-scenes things that you probably people don't appreciate that goes on as creating content and streaming?
Can I just quickly jump in first? Because Jack, are you doing this full time, or are you working a day job as well? Or, like,
I have a few day jobs. I work little bits here and there, yeah. But I do.
You like cobbling together side hustles to get through life.
Well, yeah, I'm definitely not big enough to do this as a day job. I wish. Like and subscribe. Go become a YouTube member right now. Thank you. But no, I do have day jobs. This is definitely a hobby thing. I would say probably the same thing that most YouTubers say. The downside is that if you are going to do things like this, you have to be ultra committed, and this has to be something that you adore. You have to love it. You can't do this for monetary rewards or anything like that. You have to do it. Essentially, at the moment, we've really pulled back, and streaming has allowed me to not spend as much time doing things, but I probably still spend about 20 hours a week doing streaming stuff, organizing games, contacting people, making videos. We have a whole
just the social media editing and posting and stuff.
It's a lot. It's like 20 hours of work at least. And that's without even adding to our collection by painting and building and all that stuff. We're going to be hopefully creating a new set of terrain soon. I know that's going to be like another 100 hours of work at least that I'm just going to have to put in. And you don't get paid for any of that. So the downside is really it's manic. It's havoc on your brain. I know me specifically for Barnyard Wargaming, we used to have a producer. So shout out to Connor. He's my good mate that I used to play with when I was younger. We used to have him in the chair, and he would produce all of our games, and I wouldn't have to do a whole lot more work while live on air. But a lot of people don't even notice the producing is actually done by myself as well. I have a little stream deck in the corner of my streams, and I do everything from changing the cameras, adding all the overlays and everything, changing scores, CP, all of that stuff while playing the game, interacting with chat, responding to people.
Paying for Slaanesh to show up. I mean, what?
What?
Paying for Slaanesh bots to show up in the chat.
Yeah, exactly. They got to pay me to turn up on stream.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it's havoc on your brain when you have to, especially for Warhammer streams, to know all the rules, to learn everything, and to interact with people, even receive bad comments, people who are unhappy with your play, people who are unhappy with the videos you create. You got to deal with all of this backlash, both mentally, socially. We're organizing we're in the middle of hosting a local tournament at our local store at the moment, and that's also just so many more layers of commitment and an organization on top. So to be able to do it, you got to be committed. You got to have so many organizational skills. But when you're like on track and you're going well, it's a really good time.
I can relate to a few of those things, like dipping my toes into the running of events scene. Like I lost a couple hours this afternoon being like, oh, I'll take some slightly nicer pictures of my terrain to then like put in a pack so that people looking to maybe travel to it can know what to expect. And it's like that ate some time. Then like, oh, we'll redo the pack slightly and this and that, and then post. I'm like, oh, there goes a couple hours. Cool. And obviously making the terrain time. And I'm doing it like about as time efficient as I think it could be possible.
Time really just slips away from you. I mean, people just underestimate the amount of work that goes in, really. For example, just like as a prime example off the top of my head, most people would go, oh, surely, Jack, that's not too hard. What do you got to do? Swap from a top camera to a main camera? Well, on the Stream Deck, I can confirm there's like 30 buttons. 30. Okay, I have multiple pages of buttons that I need to interact with at one time. And where do 30 buttons come from? Well, if you start doing this yourself, you'll find out. You'll figure it out. It's so much more in depth than people first realize.
Oh, I remember at some point seeing there was a really, really good video, like really interesting, and it was some guy saying like how to price your time if you're going to do commission painting. And he points out the stuff like, if you're going to do commission painting, right? Like, and you think, oh yeah, well, it'll take me about this long to do the minis, so I'll charge, this, that, or the other, right? Explaining just this is like a big tangent, but I think it's worthwhile. Like how there's the time to unpack the models that you get sent, right? And then you've got to throw away the rubbish that's from it and like wash the resin. And that's something that he consciously knows that he's giving for free for time, right? But you need to account for like your resources, because you don't want to use your best brushes. You've got to use old rubbish ones, and like the paper towels that you use for it or whatever, and like the cleaning stuff, that packing materials, time to do that, priming, like all these things just to get to the, okay, now I am sitting down and I'm going to paint this model nicely. Like things like that. And I'm sure
I would say is that because it's a new area, YouTube is a fairly new area in terms of job, like job requirements and what you're doing as a job. So when you do things like this, it's all in your own time. Like it's a hobby that becomes a job. And you might be like severely underpaid, but because it's not a job, it doesn't matter. I mean, if you get paid $1 an hour and you're unhappy with that and you give up, someone else is going to come in and replace you, and they'll happily get paid 80 cents an hour because they love the job even more. I mean, it's the same thing with like huge film productions. I heard the other day the people who work at Weta, who were working on the new Avatar movie, James Cameron's Avatar, they're only getting paid like $21 an hour or something, which is really low, and they complained. But if you complain and you leave, someone else will happily take your spot. There's plenty of people to fulfill that role, and they love doing that, and they'll happily take a smaller amount of money for it. So it's just unfortunate. You got to love it or leave it, essentially.
And it's so common. Like, don't try and make money in an industry where, or at a scene or anything where people have passion. It's like how video game designers have a bad time. I know a bunch of people that have done the same degree as I am, right? Have gone into aerospace stuff, working for Rocket Lab, the like aerospace company within New Zealand, is notorious for it'll just have a massive turnover of fresh graduates. They'll work for 80 hours a week for a year, and then they're over it because they're like, there's passion there, right? And like that, like amateur motorsport, or like trying to make money in motorsport, right? Where people are like, oh no, but old mate can do this for this price or whatever. It's like, and they'll grind you down for price and everything. Which I like all of these things. So dad, like, because my dad works doing motorsport stuff like that, right? That's why I've got that as an example. And he's made multiple like nice rally cars for a plumber. Who's like gone into plumbing and done his business, right? Like, because that's the sort of thing. Like, people aren't going like, heck yeah, what am I going to do today? I'm going to go and unclog this dude's toilet. Let's go. The guy's not that kind of plumber. He like refits like new bathrooms, but it's not exciting, but it's necessary.
Well,
so
Sam's
it's more
excited. He just put his fist in the air and he is ready to go. Wanna say
Yeah.
Logan Dollars?
Favorite of the trades.
Well, look, Sam's an accountant, all right? So plumbing probably is exciting by comparison. So, yeah.
Nice.
Don't call it my spreadsheets like that, but yes, that's true. So,
Yeah.
so you said you collect a couple of armies. So you said the plan is to collect one of each army eventually, and like have the whole range, so you can pick and choose as your disposal.
I believe, Sam, it was one of each unit, wasn't it?
Well, it's one of each army, but I have
Okay.
one of every unit for Eldar.
Yeah, and Eldar, it's safe to say, is your favorite army, and like it features on the channel heavily all the time.
So the original plan is we had a lot more people that were pretty keen, that wanted to jump in and do some stream games. And then they kind of realized how much work it involves, and they kind of like, maybe not. So originally we were going to have a whole lot of people that all know how to play 2 or 3 armies really well. And we would have every army in the collection, and then you could just jump in, play an army, and have a good time with it. But it's kind of ended up being Jack just plays all the armies. So at the moment, I think I probably play about 10 different armies on stream or so, and I rotate in between them.
So you are Jack of all trades.
Yes,
you see what I did there? Yeah.
Yeah. So I I know bits and excuse me. I know bits and pieces of like every army in the game, and I think that I would say I comfortably know 50% of every army in the game currently, except for maybe Leagues of Catan because they're brand new. And then for the armies I play, I probably know 80 to 90% of that codex, like back to front, just because I have to do so much reading and so much practice. I get so many games in playing the same armies over and over. But yeah, I think we're about halfway to collecting every army in the game. And having them painted and playable. I'd said earlier, we have about 100,000 points of stuff just in the studio alone, let alone having guests on who bring in their own armies and things like that. Not everything is painted and fully built yet, which we're getting there. But eventually, yes, we'll get everything. It just takes so much time to get an army ready. You have to build it, and then painting a whole army takes so long. And we like to really keep our standards high. A lot of the armies that you see on our stream are like really well painted. All of the armies in the studio are, I would definitely say, well above average in terms of painting. Like some of the units that you would see more often, like a guardian or like a warrior or something, they're not as well. All the characters are really, really well painted. But it just takes so much time. So.
And then if you've got these really well painted armies, then you want to get like your nice close up camera angles to really show it off.
Yeah,
and you got to get like more lighting because you need all the light to show it off, and then you want to have your nice like super HD top down. Am I on the nose here?
Oh, well, we're getting there. The cameras definitely need some work, but the manpower, the man hours behind it, I think we put in a lot. There's a few other people behind the scenes other than just myself, but we do put in a lot of hours to try and get everything like painted, rushed out, as quickly as we can for things like new rules and updates and stuff. And naturally, we're never going to have every army in the game, but I do like to try and collect everything as well as I can. Like I have one of every Eldar unit, and Eldar is definitely my favorite army in the game. Sam, you were saying earlier, do I get them out all the time? No, because otherwise it'd be like really stale. I think most of our viewers really, really enjoy Eldar, and they're there to see me play Eldar because I know them like the back of my hand. Eat your heart out, Chris Wright.
If you've got anything to say, go to the Masters event and prove it,
But I try not to play the one army too many times in a row. We definitely swap and change and do different combinations as much as we can. And not all of my Eldar is painted. Like I have probably like 8,000 points out of 18,000 painted that I can use. There's still a whole lot more to be done. I was saying earlier, I'm 3 units away, other than Zench, from having every unit in the Demon's Codex fully built, painted, and based. So we're really, really close. The never-ending grind.
Never ending.
Yeah.
Dedication, right? Content for the content gods. Got to get it all going, right?
Yeah, exactly. Or Slanesh. What?
Too good. So, with your matchups and stuff like, obviously, without selling truly trade secrets, how do you decide your matchups? Is it sort of like your own player, or I guess following decide the matchups that you want to see? Obviously, when guests come in, like they maybe only have one or two armies, and you try and match it. Do you try and like tailor the list so that they meet the tranquil Tuesdays and the I guess sweaty Saturdays or the spiky Saturdays?
Spicy, Sam. Spicy Saturdays.
Spicy. Apologies.
The sweats come the next day after the spicy food.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do you sort of manage that?
So I'll give away a trade secret. Because I do play a lot of these games, a lot of the people that come in to play against me have not played quite as many games, and they're, I would say, not as experienced. And I'm used to playing on stream and being very smooth. So other people come in and they're not quite as smooth or might be a bit nervous to play against me. And so I give everyone the benefit of the doubt. And I basically, we pick an army into someone else's army. So unless I get requested to play an army specifically, like I was requested to play Ynnari the other day, I try and pick an army that will be good into someone else that both will give us a good close game that isn't a direct counter, and will allow us to show off something like a unique strat that person wants to do or that I want to do, and that also hasn't been on the channel recently. And then I tailor the list against the other person's list to make it so that I am not too strong or too weak. Because if I'm too weak, it's going to be boring. Too strong, I'm just going to steamroll them. And typically, I make my lists a lot weaker. And I also deploy my entire army before the person even gets to the studio. So we set up our table, our terrain, our objectives, the mission. I deploy my entire army, and then the other person gets to counter deploy everything that they want against me. And then we roll off to go first, and they can do whatever they want. So typically when I play Eldar, I have a little bit of an advantage there because I can phantasm 3 of my units, and I have a bit of recovery. But a lot of the time, people just basically counter deploy me, and that makes it way easier to get everything set up and going. Like while I'm working on all the cameras and stuff, my army's already deployed, and everyone just has, they come in, they choose their secondaries, they deploy, and then we just play straight away. And we deploy before we even start the stream. Everything's already deployed and decided, all of that stuff. So I suppose.
Yeah.
That's a little trade secret.
Well, it'd be a bit like playing on a clock for the first time, right? But like probably to another level of
kind of.
Because you hear the
like we don't want to go too long. We kind of want to keep streams to about 3.5 to 4 hours. Nothing's ever been shorter than 2.5 or longer than about 4 hours, 10 minutes, I think so far. But sometimes you can have a really, really long game depending on the army. And sometimes it really just doesn't go the way that you want it. Like if I'm playing, if I want to play Nids and I want to play 60 Termagants and then revive all my Termagants the entire time, and I'm versing someone else who's playing like Necrons with 60 warriors, and they're reviving their warriors the whole time, nothing dies, and the game goes for 4 hours. So that's definitely a problem.
Like I can relate. There's been a few things. Like there was one of the first events I ran was great for time mostly, except it was like 1,000 Suns versus Tyranids matchup on table quarters, I think. And so from like bottom of 1, everything was in combat, so they were activating literally every single phase, and so that game was not quick, and they had they had to like score it early or something. I can't quite remember.
I am like so glad that the old Ynnari doesn't exist anymore, because I played a game against Evil Jack. We both played Ynnari, and then we would kill a unit,
where you
and
lose track of whose turn it is.
Activate from Soul Burst at the same time in someone's turn. It got so confusing. We forgot whose turn it was. Like literally, it was your turn, my turn. I don't know. I've done so many activations at this point. It could be anyone's turn.
Yeah, like the first unit dies, and then you just set a cascade of like, oh, well, this dies, so both of us get to Soul Burst, and then each of those units kill another unit. Then each of you get to Soul Burst, and it's like a branching, splitting thing of everyone gets the Soul Burst, and it's like, oh, wow, we've activated one unit in the shooting phase, then both armies are tabled. Cool.
Yeah, it was absolute insanity. And if I had to stream with that and know all the rules of that, and then try and keep up to date with all of that, No, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, and so because like what are the other and like sometimes your Termagant thing, right? Or like when I traveled up to Auckland, I played against the mad lad. I think it was Doug. I hope I'm not wrong on the front. Who had 300 guardsmen, and it was funny during deployment because I'm like, wait, so you've got like no guns? And he's like, I got las guns, bro. I'm like, okay, we deploy on the line.
So let's
But,
do a
like-
quick recap back to when I said Mr. Inglezos came on the stream. The first time he turned up, I let him counter deploy me, and I already had placed 800 points on my army into deep strike, and then he was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna move and cover the whole board, so you can't deep strike at all." I was like, "This isn't content. This is you winning the game, Alex."
Oh yeah, what's the old wheels versus scooter thing from WTC where the White Scars player outflanks his entire army and then the other dude lines the deployment line with crew and be like, cool, I'm done. I win the game. You will not be able to come on the table. And he's like, Judge, I don't. And he's angrily looking over a rulebook to try and like find a way out of just immediately losing at the first step of deployment.
Yep, so unfortunate.
That picture is iconic. It makes me so happy. But yeah, no, like against those guardsmen, right? Like a great opponent. But it felt like we were playing a co-op versus dice game because like both of us just trying to roll the dice and like help each other like bundle things and saves. And like, right, this guy, like my back was sore from leaning over to roll dice and point at things after we played half of one game because turns out a bunch of chain cannons are good into guardsmen.
Sometimes from a content perspective, things like that are just going to happen. Like even if you're not like playing, I don't know what a good word would be, like vindictively, like you're trying to play like oppressively, maliciously. Sometimes it just doesn't go your way. Like, I mean, we had a stream the other day where I was playing with the new demons, and Neil, I failed a charge onto one of Neil's Space Wolf dreadnoughts, like Murder Fang, right, with a Bloodthirster or something. And I'm on like 5 wounds, and I failed to charge by 1 inch, and I was like, great, my Bloodthirster's dead. He charges me. Yeah. He has exploding 6s to hit. He gets 6 6s, has like 15 attacks or something. He wounds like 8 times. I pass every single save and kill him.
Yeah.
He was like, what are you talking about? And then like 2 days later, I versed another lad, shout out to Lewis. He plays Custodes. He had 3 of his what are the big dreadnoughts called?
Oh,
the
Telemons?
Yeah. He shoots me. I fail a charge with Scarbrand, and he shoots me with his whole army, gets me to 4 wounds. Telemons deal 4 damage in combat.
Yeah, he's like, bro, we got
I pass
this.
every single save, and I kill a Telemon, and then I move, and I kill another Telemon. And he's like, this is just not fair. But, that's just...
I had one better when I played Finn's Scarbrand in Auckland a few weekends back, right? He let me activate 4 times with with knights with slaughter claws, right? And Scarbrand's buffing my guys that are punching him. He's giving them more attacks, right?
Yeah.
Scarbrand took 2 damage from an auto explode. Finn just decides, it's like, nah, it's fine. I'll let you activate with your like 6 attacks doing D3 plus 3 damage. I'm just gonna pass all my saves. And he did. Like, things happen.
How inconsiderate. What a Rudy.
I will say, I know we're probably short on some time here, and I'm gonna take us on a bit of a tangent. But
we're just trying to like one up each other on these like random stories of stuff. I appreciate like we've got someone else to just evolve into tangents off me. Okay.
I'm just gonna say, from a content perspective, right? The best things, like the best content you can get, is when those types of things just happen. They go awry, and typically they happen out of a CP occurrence, like a CP reroll or something like that. Like you spend a stratagem that you wouldn't really normally spend, and it's like, oh, okay, I don't really understand why you're doing that. And then it works, and everyone is like, what just happened?
And then you pull the YouTube thumbnail face of...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I think for that purpose and that reason alone, Games Workshop should change the starting CP. Keep everything the same. Change the starting CP to 20, not 6, right? You get a free relic and a free warlord trait, and then And we've done this live on stream, and it worked amazingly. And then three CP strats, 1 use per game, and you can only have 1 stratagem per unit per phase. So you can use as many strats as you want, but you
so
can't
you're just
dump
doing
them
all the
all onto
nonsense
1
everywhere.
unit. And it works beautifully. It's such a great game.
Do
got
you
to know
cut them
all your
down
strats
every
instead of
time
2.
someone falls back?
Yep.
Overwatch every time? Yeah.
Well, it's good because you can't stack a lot of things, and you wouldn't expect it. Like if you're playing Knights, for example, Towse, you rotate Ion Shields, no rerolls. Can't CP a save.
Yeah.
The strat, right?
Yeah.
And it works beautifully. And you go through all your CP. I promise, you spend 20 CP easy, and it makes for such a more enjoyable game. You get to use all the strats in your book, and things that you would never thought you'd use. Starhawk missile. Here we go. I'm going to use it. Why not?
Sorry?
As well. So, in my opinion,
what's that
make
one?
that change. A Reaper missile launcher shoots a flyer, and you deal mortal wounds.
Like Dark Reaper, like the never before seen out. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. When are you ever going to use that?
What's the? Oh, I witnessed a beautiful moment in the last weekend's tournament where I can't remember who it was. Someone was trying to fall back from Alex Cameron's elves, and is like, "Can I get somewhere on this objective where I can't be heroic into, or where the bikes can't get me?" Because he's falling back for some bikes, and he's gonna say, "Yeah, but I'm gonna use cut them down." And I point out to them, it's like, you got like 2 guys in engagement range. He's like, "I don't care." Guy picks up his model immediately. 2 dice leave Alex's hand. It's like one of them's a 6. And we're just like looking at him. It's like, yeah, because the guy's got a 5 field of paint to it as well. Rolls it, dead. That was beautiful to witness.
The best strategies make the game. I'm telling you.
Well, like when I was saying about the Blood Shield guy charging the land fortress, right? It's just like, oh, that's a 6, and it's 6 damage on the 2d3, and then I take another thing. Oh, he fell over.
Yeah.
Because my dude's magnetized as well, I physically knock the model over and it shatters into a bunch of pieces as well, just to for extra effect. Ooh. And then move the next one in. It was great.
Very thematic. So heading into this Christmas and obviously a new year rising on the horizon. So any plans for the future, Jack? So any big plans for the channel and stuff like that? So obviously you've got a bunch of armies getting painted and a hobby potential on the rise. So what else is happening, or anything changes with the channel?
Nice. Okay. Yeah. So at the moment, we are hosting a tournament with our local league, which is a little bit of a take on the Down Under 40K league events that they do. It's like an 8-week league, and we have 16 people playing. It's in like a Swiss style, and it's more of like a practice for us in terms of hosting tournaments. We're definitely going to be doing more of those in the new year. So for those interested, you can find all the information about that on our own Discord. Sorry, I'm giving my own plugs here. Sam, you're going to have to add these to the description. I know. I'm sorry. But yeah, so we're going to be hosting a lot more tournaments, and we are going to be taking a bit of a break over the Christmas holiday period. We have our huge 10-hour stream this weekend on Saturday, as we said at the beginning, and then we have, I believe it's 2 more games, so a Tuesday and a Saturday, and then we're going to stop our streams for 2 weeks, and we're actually going to come back on, I believe it will be the 3rd, which is a Tuesday of January, and funnily enough, Neil and I both have our birthdays on the 6th of January. So we're going to be having a birthday stream with the 2 of us, which is going to be I'm guessing, absolute chaos, but probably a lot of fun as well. So if you're excited for that, tune in on the 3rd, mark that down on your calendars. And otherwise, yeah, looking to basically improve quality here and there and keep the streams going, as long as you're consistent on YouTube, I think it's a good time.
Yeah.
Happy days. So any final plugs or shout outs before we head off for this one, Jack?
I will say definitely tune in on Saturday. If you missed the beginning of this, Saturday, 9 a.m. For Australian Eastern Standard Time. That will be 4 p.m. I think as Towse said, for Central American Time.
Assuming
Friday
I've
afternoon.
Googled correctly.
Perfect.
But that'll be on, so 4 p.m. Friday.
Yep. And 10 p.m. for Friday night for London work out what the rest of the times are going to be for your area on that. Thanks, chat, I suppose. Tune in for that. It's going to be 10 hours. It's for a good cause, for Thankmas and World Central Kitchen. We're going to give people a better Christmas than they already, than they can afford.
Better Christmas.
And we have, we have a goal currently of about $500. Hopefully, if we smash that, we'll get to $1,000. And I believe as well, I'll leave a little secret here right at the end. We do have brand new objective markers, custom objective markers, Barnyard objective markers that are going to be hopefully featured on Saturday. And anyone who donates $100 or more during the live stream, I'll send you a set of those markers for free, shipping included. And they retail for like $40. So that's coming out of my pocket. So chat, get in on this stream. It's for a good cause. And otherwise, that's me. You know where to find me. You know my Discord. You know my YouTube.
And if you're in America, right, that'll be $100 dues, right?
$100 dues.
So that's like 13 freedom bucks or something approximately with the conversion rate. So you guys should be fine, and it'll make Jack need to pay even more for shipping. Just like do it.
I'll be watching as well. I have live chat on. If you pay like 100 in like some random currency, it's actually like a penny. No, that's not going to work. It's 100 Australian. Okay. Yeah. Don't cheat me for a charity. I see you, chat.
Too good. Well, thank you very much, Jack, for joining us tonight. It's been a great show. Good to hear from you and understand more of Australian content creators. And
thank you so much for having me.
I have thoroughly enjoyed being able to soul burst off each other with tangents and just have Sam sitting in the background laughing, muted, not able to. Like,
I saw him wiping those tears out of his eyes. I think I've put on a good show.
Absolutely. And we'll be back in just over next Monday to actually listen to more content creators like yourself, Jack. So you're the premiere one, the one we wanted on first. But
I am honored.
Because we've gone over, regular content is great for YouTube. So we're, of course, changing the days we're going to record, right, Sam? I think.
So the future will be recorded to Mondays in Australian time. So Sundays in American and US, UK times roughly. But actually, don't know. We'll work it out.
Confirm that we'll be changing. Watch YouTube. We'll have them previewed.
You need to get some alliteration in there, guys. It's going to be like a Magic Monday.
Monday Madness. I don't know.
Monday Madness.
Yeah. Monday Madness. Anyways,
I don't know if that works though when people are on a different day because we're recording in the future land, but we will get there. Monday
Madness for Australians.
Yeah. That just really rolls off the tongue, that one.
Anyways, we'll be chatting to some guys from the Risky Rollers, Victorian-based YouTube creators, Legends of Lore, another Victorian content creators, and Scotty D49, a big live streamer and personality from Canberra, Australia. So tune in for next Monday for the next one. And thanks again, Jack, and thanks everyone for listening. Hope you have a good one. Take care.
Like and subscribe.
Bye.
Yeah.